Having seen my previous UX case study reviews, people requested me to do a video about how to write a proper UX case study, and this video is all about that. Hi, my name is Rasika Mainsiri and welcome to the Tier 1 UX Designer YouTube channel, and let's get on with the topic. First thing that you need to remember is a UX case study is not a technical document. Then what is a UX case study? It is a storytelling tool that the designers will use to explain things about their design projects. Now, we all know that there are fundamental differences between design and art. One is design solves problems, where art do not. In another word, a UX case study is all about how a designer solves a particular problem, and you can tell your story the way you want, but you need to make sure that the people understand your story. To solve a problem, we need to follow a certain process, but in a case study, you don't have to explain each and everything in this process because the people would not understand everything. Just like when you go to a doctor will follow a process, but doctor will never tell you the process. What the doctor say is, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is your diagnosis, and this is my treatment plan, the things that the patient understands. So you have to follow the same pattern when you're telling a UX, when you're writing a UX case study. Remember, you don't need to explain each and everything, but only the thing that people could understand or people need to understand about this particular problem. In another word, you have to rationalize your design decisions. You don't have to explain everything, but you need to rationalize your design decisions in a UX case study. Now, if I may give you certain tips which you can adapt in your next UX case study, I'll start off with the title. The title for a story is not story. You need to explain, you need to give a proper title which describes your story. Instead of naming your UX case study as UX case study, give it a meaningful name, give it an attractive name. For example, this could be an attractive name where he explains what this is all about. So once you have given the title, then give a little bit of an introduction about the problem that you're trying to solve. You need to make sure that you don't write lengthy paragraphs here because people don't read a lot, and give it a short and sweet introduction here. We all know that the UX activities and the processes that you are choosing to do this particular project will depend on the type of the project. Now, if I give you certain generic hints, you then gonna do a little bit of a research to make sure that your initial hypothesis is correct. You need to find what actually happening out there. That is why we need to do this research. Then explain a little bit of this research, what you try to uncover by doing the research. You don't have to explain everything about the research, but just say that these are the initial questions that I had in mind, and this is how I'm going to uncover during the research. Now, based on your research as well as your initial understanding and the hypothesis about the problem, you need to define it properly, and this is what I'm going to cover in this UX case study. Then we expect you to write a little bit about how you approach the solution. Now you have understood the problem. Now, how do you approach the solution and how did you solve it? How did you draft user journeys, and if it's a revamp, then how did you solve the existing problems, and explain everything in a brief manner. This is how I made my decision. More importantly, make sure that you rationalize your design decisions. Like, this is why I'm making it in such a way. Make sure that you don't overwhelm the users about so much of technical stuff. Then people will disengage with your case study. Give some explanation, some attractive explanation about your design decisions. That's all we need. For example, if it is a revamp, then this is how it was and this is how it is now. This comparison would make people understand that you have solved the problem or not. You need to make sure that you convince the user your design solves the particular problem. How are you going to do that? And often people start off with the design thinking process, and they forget at the end that they need to make sure that they did certain tests. Yes, the user testing about your designs. You need to explain it a little bit. So I talked to these people and I did certain tests, and this is what I have found. Again, some people make mistakes here. Having seen their designs and their user tests, they are so perfect, like, every user has understood it. No, that is not how it's going to happen in reality. There are in a good design, there are certain things that people will find, yes, this is it, and there are certain things that not really. So make it believable for the readers that user test any user test, it won't go as you expect. Write your honest understanding and write about your honest findings, like, I got these things right but not these things. And there's something that I have seen in many UX case studies where people start off with the problem, and at the middle they straight away go to the visual designs. This is how I got the color palette and everything. Now these are two different things. I'm not saying this is something wrong to add into a UX case study, but think about it. If you focus too much on visual design aspects, then people realize that you're not focusing on the problem here. For example, when you're explaining the color palettes, the fonts, and then your design system here, well, I think you can include a link and explain your visual design capabilities separately. So if somebody is interested in getting to know how you have chosen the color palette and the fonts and everything, well, they could go and see it. If you include that in your UX case study, it would be a very lengthy stuff, and often it takes the spotlight from solving the problem to visual design. That is something that I do not recommend you to do. But again, it's your story. You can tell it the way you want, as long as you feel that people will understand what I'm trying to say. Another mistake that people often do is they don't explain their design. They just mention, okay, I did wireframes, I did mid fidelity, I did high fidelity. No, people don't get that. If you're explaining certain things in wireframes, just give a little introduction. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is the user journey that I'm going to put into wireframe, and this is how I do it. And remember, when you're doing wireframes, do not use lorem ipsum. That's a very bad practice in UX design. Again, some people show their visual designs just like this, and it doesn't tell anything apart from that you have done visual designs, but we don't know what they are. So never show your visual designs like this. And again, some people show everything, like from the registration screen to the login screen to forget password, everything. What is more important for you to tell your audience? Is it the login screen, or is it the core user journey that you need to show to your audience? Think about it. And I'm not saying that you can't include these kind of screens like the forget password and login, but it is about focusing on what is more important in your story. Finally, write a little paragraph about your learnings. These are the things that I have learned by doing this particular project. These are the things that I got right, and these are the things that I need to work on more. So the people will realize that, okay, this is how it happens in real world. And if you could follow this kind of a structure, then people will understand that you know some stuff about UX designing. I hope these tips would find helpful for you to write your next UX case study in a proper manner. Happy UXing.